ghosts and goblins, trick-or-treaters of all types, welcome into the bunker of General Gridiron, Field Marshal of football forecasting. We're about to map out the way this scary college football weekend is gonna go. Will your favorite team be marching to victory, or will the enemy be taking your battle flag? Halloween means plenty of football teams will be putting on their best costume. The only question is, will it be enough to scare the opponent away? So grab your helmet and jack-o'-lantern too, and man those battle stations. We're ready for another round of General Gridiron's football foretelling. Kentucky at Missouri. Trick or treat, smell my feet. The Wildcats are hard to beat. With just one loss in OT, the Blue Cats are looking good on the field instead of just Rupp Arena. The Tigers just put the hurt on their fellow Jungle Bees from Memphis last week, and they've got the home crowd once again. This is going to be a really good SEC cat fight. There's no question that the Show Me State QB's Drew Lock is the better passer, but the Wildcats have pounced on plenty of good passers this season. The Generals victor, Kentucky roars in Columbia. Clemson at Florida State. What could be scarier than having to face the number 2 team in the country when you've had a mediocre season? Well, I guess there's an obvious answer for that, but it's Bama bye week. The Noles will roll out the garnet carpet for the powerhouse from Pickens County, and they'll need every ghost and goblin in Tallahassee on their side if they want to beat them. Dabo and the boys have burned through just about everyone. Good try, Syracuse. And FSU's been scrapping for every W. Tigers may not be black, but they're still bad luck for the Swamp Indians. The Generals victor, Clemson. Texas at Oklahoma State. Boone Pickens Stadium is going to look like a giant pumpkin from overhead with all this orange. The Bernard's bovines are grazing up to Stillwater for what's sure to be a close one. Old Pistol Pete hasn't been too accurate this year, missing the target a few times on what should have been sure wins. The Lone Star Studs are apparently back and riding a 6-game win streak. Talk about a comeback story after week 1, yeah. Okie State may be Bronco Busters, but they can't run with these Bulls. The Generals victor, Texas. Wisconsin at Northwestern. Y'all know what happens to a badger under the light of the full moon? Nothing, because they're not that scary and pretty overhyped. Still, Jonathan Taylor is one solid RB, and he may be the difference in this slobber knocker. The Cats are starting their meat grinder, but frankly, they just can't score like Wisconsin. The Chicago Brainiacs might have had a chance if the Badgers had stayed injured, but with a few starters returning to the field, this one shouldn't be too close in Evanston. The Generals victor, Wisconsin. Florida and Georgia in Jacksonville, Florida. Dun-dun-dun. Plop down with your candy and get comfy, SEC fans, because the battle for the East is here. It's even at a neutral site, technically. Them number 9 Fighting Gators currently lead the East, but if Georgia takes this one, then it's back on top for the Dogs. You ain't ever seen 2 more similar QBs. Seriously, Franks and Fromm, hey, that kind of sounds catchy. They've thrown for almost the exact same amount of yards, TDs, and interceptions. It sure will be a great rivalry game, but Georgia has the slight edge in receivers and rushers. The Generals victor, the world's largest outdoor cocktail party goes to Georgia. Football fright is a-coming Saturday night in Starkville, Mississippi. Will it be the Little Jimbos or Big Bad Bully escaping the Gridiron Ghouls? Plus, Old Foes Navy and Notre Dame get their Halloween tricks in San Diego. I'll tell you the big winners after I run to the back and grab my stash of treats. General Gridiron will be right back.
Hey, Dad. Hey, Dad. Do we have a gun?
Why do you ask that, kiddo?
Don't be scared. This is General Gridiron back with you. Each week, this fabulous football forecast is heard on some of the finest radio stations all over America, including WJLX FM 101.5 and 1240 AM in Jasper, Alabama, Oldies 101.5, and Fox Sports Arkansas, KEWI AM 690 in Little Rock, Arkansas. We appreciate all of our radio affiliates. Now, Let's get back into the football fight. Iowa at Penn State. Want to make a witch's brew? Just mix Hawkeyes and Nittany Lions in a Beaver Stadium and you get a surprisingly good matchup. Iowa has made their way to number 18, while Penn State has remained at 17, even with their back-to-back losses in Happy Valley. If there was ever a time for the Iowa upset, it's now. Only problem? Them Midwest birds just can't run the ball. Looks like Coach James Franklin and company will do the trick and treat the home crowd with mucho mojo. The Generals victor, Penn State. Kansas State at Oklahoma. Someone must have put a spell on Kansas State because it's been a real rough season. In their defense, they've got a tough schedule, but only beating South Dakota by a field goal is hard to defend. The Sooners have been rolling, though, with their only loss to a dynamic Texas team by a field goal. You'd like to think OU would have to really play for this one, but the K-Staters haven't even made it to 20 touchdowns total during the whole season. The Generals clear victor, Oklahoma. Washington at California. Wow. It's the ghost of missed playoff opportunities. It's been haunting the Huskies, and they could not be more mad about it. 2 close games against ranked opponents cost them their shot, so they've got some frustration to get out, and the Woolly Mammoths are next on the menu. This won't be too much of a contest since Cal's had a pretty pathetic passing game lately. UW will be hauling a bear pelt out of Berkeley on its dog sled this Saturday. The Generals victor, Washington. Texas A&M at Mississippi State. Most Aggies would rather go through a haunted house than watch a game come down to the wire like they've seen this season. But in some cases, the 12th man has been getting it done, although barely. State, on the other hand, has lost every conference game except Auburn, and, of course, who's been beating Auburn lately? Well, Ole Miss didn't. Here's the thing. The Bullies, for all their faults at scoring, have held opponents to low scores. Jimbo Fisher's bunch ain't playing this one in Aggie land. They're in the Cowbell Palace, and their luck may have just run out. And if MSU's Moorhead can get an offense going, it's theirs for the taking. The Generals victor, Mississippi State. Notre Dame versus Navy in San Diego. This game will be more gruesome than a Freddy Krueger movie. Not really sure why Notre Dame struggled so much against Pitt, but they have been rolling otherwise, and they're not intending to be 7-1 cause of methodical Navy. The midshipmen have yet to pass over 100 yards in a game, and even though some were close, the Naval Academy's got way too many sinkings in their armada this season. Respect to the high seas, but the Fighting Irish don't need to be in northern Indiana for this latest trick-or-treat triumph. The Generals victor, Notre Dame. We've already looked at the Sugar-Filled Weekend's biggest battles across the land. But don't take your costume off. There's more around the corner. We'll be back in just a moment to wrap up this week's General Gridiron with our rapid-fire picks. Trick or treat!
I was living in a shelter juggling 3 jobs. I had to be resilient. That's something that you can't teach.
This is General Gridiron back with you. We've already maneuvered through this wicked weekend's frontline college football showdowns. Now, it's time to get your pumpkins ready and storm the neighborhood with our rapid-fire football forecast, Halloween candy style. NC State beats the bit of honey out of Syracuse. TCU Kit Kats Kansas. Michigan State Jolly Ranchers Purdue. Hawaii Three Musketeers Fresno State. Texas Tech Nestle Crunches Iowa State. Old Dominion M&M's MTSU. Wake Forest Snickers pass Louisville. Tulane Tootsie Pops Tulsa. Arkansas Milky Ways Vanderbilt. Virginia Starburst North Carolina. South Florida Rice Krispie Treats at Houston. Arkansas State Jelly Bellies, Louisiana Lafayette. USC turns Arizona State into Reese's Pieces. Boise State Twizzlers Air Force. Alabama State gets its Hershey Kisses versus rival Alabama A&M in the Magic City Classic. Pittsburgh Fun Dips Duke. Cincinnati Godivas SMU. South Carolina Laffy Taffies Tennessee. Southern Miss Butterfingers UNC Charlotte. And San Diego State Gobstoppers Nevada. Well, trick-or-treat troopers, you can now put your tricks and treats away. We're all out of picks on this Week 9 edition of General Gridiron. We'll be back again next week, same General Gridiron time, same General Gridiron station. So don't forget to tune us in on the radio, Facebook, YouTube TV, and the Y'all Show, Dixie's hottest talk show. And don't forget to tell your friends all about the show. Just search for General Gridiron. This is John Rawl, the General of Gridiron Glory, thanking you for letting me be a part of your weekend. This episode was written by Murray Lee. General Gridiron is a production of CRM Sports. For more, log on to crmsports.com.
Trick or treat, y'all.